referee's passing on some final instructions to his players before we get underway again. Andre is there. He's not been overly tested in the first half. Bernd Omondi turning out to be the busier of the two goalkeepers. Will be Cameroon to kick us off in the second half here. But there are changes being made at the break. Kenya introducing Alphonse Omidja in place of Daniel Anyembe, which is a change, possibly a straight swap at right back, and an alteration as well for Cameroon. Boris Inu is on in midfield for Cameroon.
Shot 14, Boris Inu Takang is on. And shot 15, Kunde Malo Pierre is off.
Pierre Kunde is the player who has made way for him, a straight swap in the centre of the pitch for Cameroon. So one substitution apiece as we get underway again in the second half. This is Zombo Anguissa. Falls for Chachua. Cameroon finished the first half very much on top. Can they press home their advantage in the second half here and turn it into a goal? Kenya had some promising moments in the early stages of the game, but pressed further and further back as the half went on. Further confirmation of the substitution. Daniel Anyembe being replaced by Alphonse Omidja of Gor Mahia at the back for Kenya, and Cameroon replacing Pierre Kunde in the midfield with Boris Inu. Boris Inu Takang, to give you his full name, now playing for DC United in Major League Soccer. He comes on in midfield for the Indomitable Lions, who've won the free kick there for the challenge, coming in on Nuutolo. Gadu. Bumo, first time ball on, looking for the run of Jackson Chachua. Well, it does appear to be the same tactical setup for Kenya in the second half, despite that half-time substitution. Keep an eye on that, though. Headed away by Castelletto. It was an awkward high ball. Comes to Pine and Bumo, losing out in the challenge with Eric Otieno. It's a slightly dangerous ball back the way from him. Here's Richard Odada. Possession lost in midfield by Kenya. Abubakar. Inu, the substitute. Hongla. The ball out to the left-hand side. This is Christian Bassogog. And a big influence on the game in Yaoundé the other day, but not quite the same today. Challenge coming in on Okumu. Now, Olunga will leave that ball. Picked up on the far side here. Comes into Jukabuya. Cross to Eric Otieno. He's got a terrific engine on him, the Kenyan left back. Avire playing in front of him. Brian Mbumo has played at a consistently high level in the English Premier League in recent seasons with Brentford. Cameroon will be looking for players like him to really step up in the second half here. If they can get the 3 points today, that will pretty much finish off any issues about qualification. There'll be 6 points ahead of Kenya with just 6 points to play for. The ball cut back. Cleared away as far as Inu. Mbumo. Brian Mbumo with the sweeping switch from right to left. Christian Bassogog. Did well, Bassogog, up against Omija. And Cameroon have a corner at the beginning of the second half here. Five green shirts waiting in the middle. The referee from Benin just checking on some pushing and shoving in there. He's just reminding the Kenyan defenders to be careful, as the phrase he used there, and I heard the word penalty coming out of the referee's mouth. Kenyan defenders will have to be very careful indeed. The corner is played short.
Again, nice one.
It's going to be another corner for Cameroon. Comes the cross from Ongla and headed down by Ngadu, and a really good save by Bernard Mondi. Firm hand to stop Cameroon taking the lead. Well, that's the closest we've come to a goal all day, really. And Bernard Mondi brought into the Kenyan starting lineup today with a really crucial interception to deny Michael Ngadu the breakthrough goal. The cross coming in from Matan Ongla was a really inviting ball. Didn't just stop that, Omondi. He turned it away from any further danger. Otieno. Meetings between these nations have been rare up until clash in Yaoundé a few days ago. You had to go back to early 2010 to find the last time that Kenya and Cameroon played each other. That was in a friendly game in Nairobi, which Cameroon won by 3-1. Kenya with the chance here. It comes off the frame of the goal. Onyango nearly putting the Harambee Stars in front. Engin Firat's team so close to taking a shock lead. They've been under real pressure pretty much since the early stages of this game. Cameroon began to take control as the first half went on. Nearly took the lead at the other end a few moments ago. It was left by Alphonse Omija. And on Yango's fizzing effort, Michael Olunga, the captain, was unable to do anything with the follow-up. That ball came at him really far too fast. Andre Onana was beaten all ends up by the shot, but saved by the post. Well, that will have given the Kenyans a big boost. Otieno's cross kept alive at the far post. Olunga comes back for Odada to hit the shot. Johnson Omurwa forward for Otieno. Loses out against Brian and Boom. Vincent Aboubakar to Zombo Anguissa. Raging from end to end at the moment. Bassogog tries to hit the shot. Bassogog again. Picked up by Nkadu, and now with Brian Mbumu. Aboubakar scored the opening goal from the penalty spot in Yaoundé. Scored the only goal when Cameroon beat Namibia in Garua on match day 1. Well, Cameroon want to get the job done. Remember, they have 7 points after 3 games. Zimbabwe have 5, Kenya have 4, Namibia have lost all 3 games thus far. So Cameroon win today, and they'll be 6 points ahead of Kenya with just 6 points left to play for, with the better head-to-head record, and they will be there. The indomitable Lions will have their place at the next Afcon finals sewn up, with well over a year to go, of course, until the Afcon takes place. The qualifying campaign will be done and dusted next month. The Afcon doesn't begin in Morocco until the 21st of December next year. It will run through until the 18th of January 2026. The reason we're having the qualifying campaign so far in advance of the next Cup of Nations is because initially the Afcon was due to be played in June and July of next year in Morocco. It's been pushed back in the end because of the pressures of the calendar. There is the new expanded FIFA Club World Cup featuring several leading African nations. That'll take place in the United States in June and July next year. And of course we have the expanded 48-team World Cup taking place in North America in June and July of 2026. So the next Afcon has to fit in between these 2 competitions. Yellow card shown to Alphonse Omidja for persistent fouling. Well, that was the challenge on Bassogog, not a huge amount in it. So free kick then to Cameroon. Ngadu and Castelletto, the 2 central defenders, are forward for this. Bassogog and Brian Mbumu standing over the dead ball. Cameroon looking to maintain their unbeaten start in this qualifying campaign and make it 3 wins from 4 games. Mbumu's delivery helped on its way by a Kenyan defender. Well, Kenya had that huge chance, the shot off the woodwork from Onyango, but Cameroon are on top. Rooney Onyango's effort after Kenya had that terrific opening in the first half as well, when Michael Olunga found himself through on goal, tried to tee it up for Jukabuya. In the end, it was John Ovire's shot off target. But otherwise, Cameroon have been the more dangerous team. This is Basogog on the right-hand side at the moment. Lays it back towards Abubakar. The captain hits the shot on the turn. Vincent Abubakar, hero in Cameroon, came on as a substitute to score the winner in the 2017 Afcon final against Egypt in Libreville. Initially made his name with Coton Sport, of course, in his home city of Garoua. Ongla touches it on for Brian Mbomo. The wingers remaining on opposite sides at the moment for Cameroon. Brian Mbomo on the left, playing it infield. It's collected by Anthony Akumu. Kenya 0, Cameroon 0. Jackson Chachua under pressure. Andre Onana under pressure as well, very casual. Goodness me, they've got away with that one. The Cameroon defence. We've had an hour of this game, 2/3 of the way through it, goalless in Kampala. Zombo Nkisa. Now then, cut back towards Brandon Mbomo, looking to lay it off for Abubakar. Quality not quite there in the final third.
Concentration. Duke. Kanyanga ball. Ingia. Mika. Wall. Wapili.
Well, Engin Ferrat, the Kenya coach, hoping to see his side pull off a famous victory. Kenya, remember, not involved in the qualifying campaign for the last Afcon. And currently trailing Zimbabwe in the race to finish certainly second behind Cameroon at least in this qualifying group. You can really do with a victory today. The shot coming in, it's a stunning goal. It's the substitute, Boris Ino, who puts Cameroon in front with a sensational hit from long range. Cameroon, the leaders in this qualifying group, heading towards the finals in Morocco, thanks to a sensational strike from one of the newest faces in the national team, Boris Ino, with a debut goal. On as a half-time substitute, and a player who Mark Brice, the Cameroon coach, rates very highly. That's why. Borisenu, who has been on the books at a couple of leading European clubs without breaking into the first team at Racing Club de Lens in France, at FC Porto in Portugal, who had a spell in Israel before moving to DC United in Major League Soccer this year, breaking into the full Cameroon national team and coming up with that. A moment of real quality to break the deadlock here in Kampala. And now Kenya are chasing this game when a defeat may be very damaging indeed to their prospects of qualifying for the next Cup of Nations. But Cameroon are on course to secure their place. It's ahead of the last couple of qualifiers, remember. In this Group J, Kenya now looking for the equalising goal. The ball into the middle, aimed at Olunga. It's picked by Brian Mbumu. Zomboangisa. It's lovely play from the away side. And out to the left flank here. Basogog whipping the ball in, aimed at Abubakar. And turned behind by Johnson Omurwa for another Cameroon corner. Gadu coming forward again.
Why you only focus on one side?
Castelletto getting his head to that ball. Well, Mark Brice was asked about Borisenu's quality, speaking to Cameroonian television a few days ago, and he described him as a player with something special, who is daring, who's a good technician with a good shot on it. Well, he proved that with the goal, as Kenya make their second substitution. Duke Abuya is coming off here. Timothy Uma is coming on, the number 10 Uma, who started the game in Yaoundé the other day, and John Avire, the number 21, being replaced with Amos Nondi, another player who started in the first meeting of the teams, coming on as well. Avire, a forward. Amos Nondi replacing him.
Coming on is Amos Obiero, shot 17.
Nondi is defensive-minded player. Timothy Uma is a midfielder, a bit of a tactical tweak here, I think, for Kenya, midway through the second half. We'll keep an eye on how the Kenyan system changes following the double substitution. The free kick given for the challenge on Anthony Akumu. Here comes the free kick beyond everybody. Well, certainly the appointment of Mark Brice was a controversial one in Cameroon, made by the sports ministry at a time of disagreement between them and the Cameroonian Federation. It was not Samuel Eto'o's appointment as president of the FECAFOOT. Brice came in April. Eto'o relieved him of his duties in May and then went back on the decision a couple of days later. Brice has stayed on. Even just the other day, there was suggestion from Brice that he might quit of his own volition. That was due to unhappiness about a decision by the Cameroonian Federation to remove one of his assistants, Joachim Mununga, from the list of team officials. But Brice is still in the position, and he is the man who's brought Boris Eno into the squad. He is the man who brought Boris Eno on at half-time, and the result is spectacular. Just as spectacular as the goal itself from Boris Eno, which has Cameroon in the lead here in Kampala. Painan Mbumo, lovely control. Up against Otieno. Looking for Eno. Richard Odada under pressure. It's picked up by the goal scorer. Chachua. Zomboangisa. Mbumo's cross, and there's the header from the captain, Abubakar. Off target. Cameroon looking for the killer second goal here. Vincent Abubakar leading the line for Cameroon. He's playing his club football in Turkey these days. Hatay Spor attacked this cross from Mbumo brilliantly. Unable to find a target though with the header. Otieno. Richard Odada has only made a couple of brief appearances for Dundee United in the Scottish Premiership this season. Odada suddenly finding himself playing 2 games close together against one of Africa's leading national sides. It's a big ask for him and all of the Kenyan team today. Challenge on Basogog. Well, it was Alphonse Omija who committed the foul. Remember, he is already on a yellow card. Kenyan defender who came on at half-time. Chance for a drinks break for some of these players. Second meeting of the teams in 4 days. They clashed in Yaoundé on Friday. The Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. Kenya just one Afcon appearance in the last 2 decades. That was in 2019 in Egypt. Before that, it was 2004 in Tunisia. is the player who's been booked. It's become overcast. Coming up towards 6 p.m. in the Ugandan capital, the first game of the day on the continent in Afcon qualifying, which will continue tomorrow as well, remember. But in this group, as it stands, it's going to be Cameroon top with 10 points. Neither Kenya nor Namibia will be able to catch them. Cameroon will be celebrating qualification before their final 2 games in the group, which will come in November. Remember the exact dates we don't yet have, but Cameroon due to play Namibia away and Zimbabwe at home. And the free kick given here. Boris Ino Takan scoring the goal, which has the indomitable Lions in the lead. Gog has been a constant menace today once again. Not quite as lively as he was on Friday in Yaoundé, but he was the player who won the free kick for the challenge by Rooney on Yango. Five green shirts in the penalty box, ready to attack the free kick. Cameroon looking for the second goal, which will secure victory for them here in Kampala today. Kenya up against it, playing their home matches away from home. That's the reality. And there is a problem. A couple of Cameroonian players ending up on the floor. Michael Ngadou falling very theatrically. The referee just making clear that he's keeping an eye on everything. Of course, there is no VAR in place today. Too much on the free kick, and it's not a problem in the end for Bernamondi, the four, and it will mean a decisive final day in which Kenya would be looking to get the better of Namibia, while Zimbabwe have to play away in Cameroon. And Namibia, of course, made an impact at the Afcon this year in Côte d'Ivoire. Made it to the last 16 before losing to Angola, but it looks like they're not going to be at the next edition because they've lost their first 3 games in this group, all of them by a single goal, and they're rock bottom. And Zimbabwe will fancy their chances of getting a victory, certainly getting at least a point in that game, and Kenya will be up against it in their bid to return to the Afcon finals. Cameroon, meanwhile, with a victory, will be able to revert their focus back to the return of World Cup qualifying. They are top of their World Cup qualifying group with 8 points from 4 games. They've had wins at home against Mauritius and Cape Verde, and draws away to Libya and Angola. It's looking good for the indomitable Lions, who are aiming to reach a 9th World Cup. They are specialists on the African continent when it comes to qualifying for the World Cup. They're 5-time winners of the Afcon as well, remember. 1984 and 1988, then back-to-back editions in 2000 and 2002, and then in 2017 under Hugo Broos. It was a bit of a makeshift squad that he put together that year. Some big players didn't go to the competition in Gabon, and yet they emerged victorious with a big Cameroonian support attending the final in Libreville. Of course, it's just next door for Cameroon. Had hoped to build on that and win on home soil in 2022. Wasn't to be. Zomboangisa. Boris Inu. Back the way to Ngadu. Now Andre Onana. Sends it long downfield. Not kept in play by Chachua. Johnson Omurwa for Kenya. Richard Odada. Been fairly neat and tidy today, Odada, but it's been difficult for the Kenyan midfielders to really dominate in that area. Nondi, too much on the pass, asking a lot of Onyango. Amos Nondi on as a second half substitute after starting in Yaoundé a few days ago. We are going to see another Cameroonian change. Double substitution by the looks of it, and got a glimpse of the number 13, Brice Mumi Nkamalo, who on the official team sheet has been given as an absentee today, but it looks like we are going to see him. There might be a chance for the equaliser for Olunga again. He was a bit slow to pull the trigger. Well, Michael Olunga missed a great chance in the first half when he opted to pass it to Djukabuya instead of shoot, and on that occasion it's almost as if he wasn't quite